We're now joined by my work husband, my partner in news, Gareth Edwards, joins me this morning alongside Mabuto Ngobo. And I mean, so much has been happening with, Spamantla Goge doing the best that he can, Gareth, to ensure that we get the finer details of what's happening inside that kraal, but very sacred, highly secured. But we understand more of presenting the King Misuzulu to the ancestors is exactly what's happening, of course, inside the kraal.
Yeah, and you have to forgive the slight breakup in the sound at the moment. As you'd imagine, just technically, you've got so many people there.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's all reliant as well on cell phone signal. But as you say, Sipamandla doing Sipamandla things,
yes.
covering this, making sure he's walking with everybody that's important, talking to everybody that is important as well. So we've seen from earlier this morning, Water and Sanitation Minister Senzo Nkunu joining the Zulu regiments at Nongoma as well. So all the hierarchy, all the political celebrities, if you will,
right.
Everyone who can be there and has made their way there, Mabuto as well, wanted to be there because I think we were on air when the announcement was made, T, that it's open to everyone.
To the public.
And then everyone, it seems, has found their way to Nongoma as well. So we were just hearing there the walking into the kraal. Now, I may have missed this, so forgive me, I've just walked into the coverage. I was watching it in our newsroom as well. Who is allowed in the kraal?
It's certain, not everybody can be allowed in the kraal, but like I made a disclaimer earlier on that I'm a historian, I'm not cultural expert, so cultural experts will be more good people to tell who exactly is allowed there at the kraal. But also remember, not all kings have done this. According to Prince Mangosuthu, the traditional Prime Minister of Amazulu Nation, said that the late King Zwelithini did not do this ceremony, and then he said that it was done by King Cyprian Beguzulu, this ceremony, but also he did it after the coronation. So I guess it goes to the issue of culture. They say is not static. It keeps on changing from time to time. The other king might have this preference. The other king might have this other preference. It's only this current king who is doing it before the coronation that we know, according to Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi.
Yeah, and that clarity is very important because one might wonder, did King Zwelithini not do it because of preference or circumstances? But it's interesting to see that even with tradition and culture being flexible there, perhaps you might just postpone it to a later time. This may have been important to King Zwelithini because we also heard that what follows now is that certificate, right, from President Cyril Ramaphosa.
Yes. What follows will be certificate from President Cyril Ramaphosa. But also, it's very important. You've asked a very important question. Probably, maybe circumstances at the time did not permit the late king to do it. But probably maybe this time, because they remember that there is this contestation that is going on. So it's possible as well that the current king has to show that he has the numbers. He has, we spoke about the numbers as the currency in the modern day politics. That is why you see a lot of politicians going there, because they know that you need that currency, the numbers, to be associated with a person with the numbers. You recall that in the 1990s, there was that contestation in KZN between the ANC and the IFP. Most of the time, everybody wanted to be associated with the Zulu king because he had the numbers, So the numbers are very important. It's also important for the current king to show that, because remember last week we had the other ceremony by the other prince, Princess Magate. If you look on social media, you can see that there were not much people that were there. But you see now, there are a lot of people, because in isiZulu, they say, Inkosi, Inkosi ngabantu. A king is a king because of people. You cannot say you are a king, but there are no people around you who are supporting you that indeed you are a king, as you can see those visuals.
Those visuals coming through to us sporadically as the signal returns to us out of Nongoma as well, because far be it, I think, from all the previous ceremonies and the entering of the kraal and the the coronation of the king. All those years ago, of course, Mobutu, there was no such thing as social media and cell phones. Of course, and I'm busy following some of the conversations on social media, which is why we're getting a little bit of signal breakup. So if you have just joined us 12 minutes after 12 here on ENCA, just bear with us, of course, as we do drop the signal every now and then, but we will continue to cover this live as well. When I say the names, Mabutu, Ingonyama or Isilo, the importance of the lion kill earlier this week, I saw a lot of people who might not be au fait, and I'm very happy to admit I'm not as au fait with it, the historical symbolism and importance behind the killing of that lion.
Yes, because the lion is the king of the jungle. It is important for the king to be associated with the king of the jungle because he is the king himself. We call him Ingonyama in Misuzulu, which means the lion. So it's very important. But also it is important to also quote what Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi said. He said the kings who killed the lion was King Shaka, the builder of the Zulu nation. And then the other one, it was King Bande. But then he said he did not kill it. He sent the regiment to kill the lion. I think the other one is the late King Zwelithini, Zulu. But to answer your question, it's important because it symbolizes the strength of the king, because the king is called Ingonyama, Ipubesi, or the lion. So it's important to have that done.
But also its significance, does it mean that it shows that he's got strength, he's got physical strength, you know, to kill a lion? Is it more of that he's conquered a king, you know, of the jungle in the form of a lion? Just take us through that significance, that impact that it has then on his role as king.
In fact, there's been a lot of debate on that issue. Some arguing that actually it's not that important that he's got the strength to kill the lion, because some who are conservative will argue that he's supposed to kill it with a spear. I saw a lot of debate, some saying that no, we are living in the 21st century. Why would you risk the life of the young king going there with a spear? What happened if they get killed by the lion? And then you have those debates. Some saying no, it's fine that he used the modern day weapon. We must move with time. So you always see those contestations between the conservatives and should I say postmodernists or liberals, who will argue that no, we must move with times, and others will argue that no, it should be done in a way that used to be done before. So you always have those debates at the end of the day.
Because somebody say that if you do it with the modern day weapons or in modern day times, you're diluting history. There's a greater, suppose, significance when you do it the old traditional way. That, of course, might be the faction that believes that that spear might have been used.
Yeah, and the significance of the spear as well. I mean, it's not just any spear that is used in this as well. I mean, that has its own historical significance as well. We'll see the king with that spear later, and while there might not be much attention drawn to it by the king himself, there's a real significance behind that spear itself, isn't there?
Yes, there is that significance as well. But like I was saying, that you have a lot of debate on these things, because you've got the liberals or postmodernists, and at the same time you also have people who are conservative who will argue that things should be done in the old way, and then you have those who say no, we've moved with time. So a lot of things have changed from the time of the late King Shaka, King Tingane, and all other kings. I mean, after 1879, for instance, King Cetshwayo, when he came back from prison, because he, after that battle of Sandwan in 1879, he was sent to prison.
Okay.
He was wearing clothes and stuff like that. So things keep on changing from time to time.
All right, I would have to stop it there because I understand Spamantla is standing by with the very latest for us in Kwa Nongoma. Spamantla, what do you have?
Indeed, we are inside the kraal here, members of the royal family, Amabuto, all clad in their traditional attire inside the kraal here. Not everyone gets to enter this kraal, but what you see here are senior members of Amazulu royal family. We will not be moving too much because of signal issues, but let's just move a bit so that we'll show you these members that you see, or these princes that you see in front of us right now are members of the royal family. These are the princes who are here to support the king, and they are also here to ensure, as we see, the arrival of former KwaZulu-Natal Premier Mr. Sihle Zikalala, who is the current MEC responsible for cooperative governance and traditional affairs, also ANC chairperson in KwaZulu-Natal, Siboniso Duma Bheki Mtolo, provincial chairperson or provincial secretary of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal, and there is also Mr. Sipho Hlomuga, the former COPTA MEC in KZN, current MEC responsible for transport. There is Dr. Ntutuko Mahlaba next to the gentleman who's wearing the shades there. Dr. Ntutuko Mahlaba is the MEC responsible for public works and human settlements. These are the top 4 officials of the ANC without the deputy chairperson Noma Kukusmelane Zulu, whom I assume, even if she's present, she will be on the other side with other female leaders who are attending this, because this section of the kraal is dominated by men and Amabuto. So we will turn now and show you what is happening on the other side, because it's not only men who are inside the kraal, you also have women who are here. And you've got Mama who are here to ensure that they are showing.
Well, as you can hear, a slight audio breakup, but the picture's still good for the moment. We're going to give Siphamandla Goge a couple of minutes as he begins to make his way around the kraal. We're starting, I think, to get to the moment that many of South African citizens have been waiting for, certainly the Zulu nation, at 19 minutes after 12. This is that moment, and I find it fascinating to be able to follow the traditions of how this is done, because Mabuto and Tumza, I find it fascinating watching from the outside how they are still, as a Zulu nation, as a king, as a royal family, sticking to tradition, despite that modernity that you were talking about earlier, and moving along with the times.
Yeah.
And how difficult is that going to be for the king to manage? Because part of going into the kraal is the family presenting him to the ancestors, and there's an expectation of how that should get done. But there's also a young Zulu nation as well that might not necessarily identify with the way it's being done now. How does the king begin to make that balance? Have we seen changes like that in traditional Zulu history?
It is also another ongoing debate. You're asking a very important question, because all Zulu people now will want to see how is the current king going to do things going forward. But I remember during his early days when he spoke to Siphamandla Goge, he said to him that he is not going to change what his father started. He's going to continue doing the things the way his father used to do them. So I don't think we'll see much changes going forward. But obviously, this is a new king. He's well educated, he speaks English fluently. He's living in modern days, in modern times where we have social media, cell phone and stuff like that. So it's possible that we may see some slight changes there and there, but I don't think we'll see like total changes being introduced, because remember that when we talk about Amazulu or Zulu nation, we're talking about a nation that is very, very particular about the way they do things. I still believe that it should, like you are saying that, we still see people wearing amapeshu, traditional, there are few nations who still, do wear those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So I don't think we'll see much changes. He's probably continue, like he said in the earlier interview with Siphamandla, that he will continue doing the things that the way his father used to do.
Can I just say about Misuzulu, though, because if you look at the picture right behind us with the glasses, I mean, some on social media say he's a cool king.
He's a cool king
with glasses, wears branded clothes, he's on social media. I mean, he's been Instagramming.
I saw the white sneakers a couple of days ago as well. I'm not sure what they were, but they were white sneakers. He's a modern king.
He's a modern king.
But how does he balance that? I mean, you talk about the picture behind us, T, but there you see it.
That's right.
On the banner as
well.
well.
That's right.
And that doesn't seem to be a problem. So is there, Mabuto, I'm curious, is there a line that the new king cannot cross? You know, the family and the prime minister, etc., will let him get away with certain things. Now, as I say get away, that's where I want to go next. I'm curious to find out, can the king do whatever he wants? Or, like, for example, we're talking about little things like wearing glasses, wearing sneakers. Where does his authority, his absolute authority as the king, end before advisors, elders, etc., start interfering with how he's doing things? I mean, how much power does he really have as the king? Is it absolute?
Look, we're living in modern days. You cannot expect that the current king will do things the way they used to be done in the old days. So times have changed. So I don't think that there is anything that stop him from wearing those glasses. That example that you've just made. I mean,
that won't be offensive, for example, to the older generation, or would it?
I don't think there is something untoward with wearing glasses. I mean, we know even the Prime Minister of Misuzulu nation. Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, from time to time, he does wear glasses. Yeah. So I don't think there would be much of a problem with that.
Yeah, I also want to touch on the program there. We expect it to begin at 11 a.m. This morning. Prince Thulani making mention that because of the number of people that had come, blocking traffic, even some, I suppose, VIP, for lack of a better word, delegates still can't make their way into, of course, the Kwakhangela Mangengani, household. Those are visuals still coming into the marquee, where, of course, after the kraal, King Misuzulu is meant to come here. So we're a little bit behind time, but understandably, because this was open to the public, everyone not trying to miss this historical moment, perhaps a once in a lifetime. But Mabuto, to reflect on the program, remember Prince Thulani said there will be only congratulatory messages, no speeches, but just more congratulations messages, even from nations and kings outside of South Africa.
Yes, indeed. I mean, he said that they were expecting about 5,000 people, but apparently now we see a lot of people coming in. And obviously, when people are at home and watching on TV and nearby, they will want to go there and witness for themselves, because it's not the event that happened from time to time. One of those events that, I mean, it might take some years before it happen again, because you have to have another king before you witness something like this. So people probably would want to be part of that history, to say, hey, I was there when there was that ceremony of Ungena Esbayeni. So they would not want to miss that part of history. So there will be people, you asking, there will be people, there will be kings from Malawi. There will also be another one from Zambia.
That's right.
Those it's very interesting because those, like the one from Zambia, King Mpezeni, they left Zululand in about 1818. It was the early battles between King Shaka and the Ndwandwe King Zwide. So after that battle, they left with some of the people, crossed to Mozambique, all the way to Zimbabwe, crossed the Zambezi River. I think it was in 1835, on the day they crossed the Zambezi River, and then all the way to Zambia, where they are. But before they went to Zambia, they went to Tanzania, at a place called Mapupo. I think King Zwangendaba died there or passed on there, and then some of the followers came back to Zambia and others went to Malawi. So they're talking about those two kings, the one from Zambia and the other one from Malawi. So it's important that they are here. In fact, I was in Zambia in the Eastern Province. I did meet one of those kings, King Mpezeni, and some of the people there. They speak Chinyanja language. It's almost similar to isiZulu. For instance, when they say Mutu Watu Wode, umuntu wabantu bonke. You can see that, you know, Baba, they also say Baba. You can see that actually you are one people. It's just that their language, they've just added some of the local languages, your Tsenga language, your Chinyanja. But when you listen to the language, you can converse with them in your Misuzulu and, you know, them speaking Chinyanja. So you know, it's important for them to be part of this ceremony.
Because their roots do trail back.
They do
to this
back.
nation. Yeah.
They left Zululand, but they are part of the Nguni people. They call themselves Ngonis as well. But they say actually they're supposed to call themselves Ngunis, not Ngonis.